I'm in psychotic depression. But actually, this might sound a little bit wild. That's good news. So the way my episodes typically work is I get hypomania or mania, but these days it's just hypomania. And then I swing down into depression, and then I typically get a mixed state. This episode has been a little bit different, and I'll explain a little bit of that more as I go through this video. But I had the hypomania where I did a bunch of stuff and I had a lot of fun. And then I ended up swinging down into depression, which is where I am now. What made this different, though, is that I actually had a mixed state in between the hypomania and the depression, which I was still going through when I made my last video where I talked about how I was in psychosis. The really unfortunate thing is that since I've told you I'm in psychotic depression, I actually have to talk about the psychosis side of it, because I am still experiencing psychosis. I am still in psychosis. And it's been hard. It has been very, very difficult because the new symptom I'm experiencing is one that is rather concerning to me. In my last video, titled I'm in Psychosis, I talked about how I started sensing these shadowy figures that were packed in like sardines around the areas that I was in. So I saw them first in the hallway at work, then I saw them along the road on the way home, and then they just kind of stuck around. While I was filming the last video, there were multiples of them in the room with me. And while I don't yet, hopefully never, don't yet see them with my own two eyes, they're still really scary and they still freak me out quite a lot. And so since that video, I have seen them, but I have not seen them packed in like sardines, although I still call them the sardine people to my friends and family. But I still do get 3 or 4 in a room sometimes. Like I actually, before filming this video, I looked around here and, okay, there is one in the hallway, but, it's not as bad as it was in that last video, which is good because I was really bad off in that video. And so these sardine people, they come and go. My dad actually tried to get one to leave by telling it to insert expletive here off. And as nice as that was of him, and we were both then in public looking interesting, it didn't work, but it was still nice. It was a nice thing. But they haven't really gone away. They've gone away for hours, but they haven't been away for a whole day yet. And so that's been a thing. And then on top of that, the voices that I hear normally have been more active. I've been listening to more and more music to try and drown them out, and it just, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and I honestly just, I just, sometimes when the sardine people are in the room, the voices are louder, and I guess that makes sense since they're both psychotic symptoms, but it still makes it very hard for me to work and do my job. And so while I still have been going to work and not taking time off, but we have like those precious samples that I really needed to process and I wanted to process, and so I ended up getting through them. It took me time, but I ended up getting through them. Oh, you might be hearing, okay, I have a surprise for later on in this video. I don't know if you heard that or not, but there's a surprise. But I did my experiments and it was hard. It was really hard. And so there were multiple times where I actually started crying, not from the stress of doing the experiment, but like just being overwhelmed by the psychosis, being overwhelmed by the sardine people being everywhere. And I do want to make it clear, they're not touching me anymore. They're not doing any of that. If I touch one of them, I get a visceral reaction. But like the reaction you saw in the last video. But they're not reaching out and touching me at all, so I don't have to worry about any of that for now. So I'm taking my wins when I can get them. And so I did cry a lot, and that was partially because I was experiencing some mixed states when it came to my mood. I thought it was very interesting that this time around after the hypomania, I did end up in a little bit of a mixed state. And so crying just suddenly without warning, that's a pretty normal thing for me to do in a mixed state. And so I did that, and I just let it happen, and then it was over as quick as it came. It was over, and yeah, that was a thing. So that kind of leads me into talking about the mood side. And I kind of want to talk about the mood side with a friend. And I know a lot of you guys know I have guinea pigs, but I have one with me. This is the star of the channel. This is Luna. Look at her face. She's so cute. She's like, hi guys. She's like, hi guys. So I'm going to hold her while I talk, and she's going to snuggle with me. So the mood side of things has me feeling down. But here's the thing about depression with me is that I know how to deal with it. If there's one mood state I'm an expert with coping with, getting through, it is depression. Psychotic depression, a little bit of a new territory for me in terms of things. I think I've been in psychotic depression like one other time officially, if that makes sense. Like, I guess I've had psychosis for years and I've had depression for a long time, but I definitely, this one is something new. As you can see, my mood is already lifted because I'm holding my pet. And so one thing I've been doing in depression is taking care of myself. I've been letting myself have longer showers. I've been spending time with my piggies. And I've been giving them vegetables. They love vegetables. And I've been hugging Madam B. She is off camera right now, or off screen right now. And I've been able to kind of get through with it. And hey, sweetie. There we go. She needs to like settle. You settle, girl. Sorry, I get going, and then I kind of have a little burst of like energy, and then it goes away. And that's kind of how depression works. You want to go back in the lap? Okay, I'll bring you back up in a little bit. But I think I'm just like largely overwhelmed because everything is harder because of depression. And I kind of want all of it to end and be over and be done this episode. All of this episode just to end. And it will. And many of you expressed concern about me not telling my doctor. And the thing is that I don't really know how to answer that except by saying that a lot of the time these things do conclude on their own. They do end on their own. And I see him in a few weeks anyway. So if things are still bad, I can either see him then or contact him to see him before. But I have such a carefully curated cocktail of medications right now that have been working for a really long time that I'm hoping this is just a little bit of a hiccup in them, like a little bit of an anomaly, not something that requires adjustment, because not every single time symptoms pop up, there needs to be an adjustment. And I know some of you might not like that, but that is how it is for me, and that's the decision I'm making on this. Yeah, but I have been reaching out to my parents. My parents have been extremely helpful throughout this whole thing. My mom has gone on walks in nature with me to help out, something that you guys suggested like months ago now that I'm still doing, and I love it. And then my dad has been hanging out with me after work. Like, we've been going out. I haven't been drinking, but we've been going out and like sitting at this local grocery store sitting area that we used to frequent during COVID. And we went back there, and that really helped. And since it's in a grocery store, I can grab a San Pellegrino and drink that and be super happy with it. But yeah. I don't really know if there's anything else I have to say. I'm going to check my notes because I did write notes for this Let me check my notes. Oh, yes. Okay. So the one final thing I want to talk about is that this is not... So a common misconception for people, and hopefully this doesn't make anybody upset, ironically what it is, but anger is not a symptom of bipolar disorder. Anger is not a symptom of it according to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. What is irritability. And irritability is something that is often seen in mania and hypomania, and it's something I deal with as a result of experiencing mania and hypomania. And I have been experiencing irritability throughout the latter part of the episode so far. And the best way I can describe it is just talk about 3 instances where it's happened. The first, my mom and I were shaking fleece that this one, used. And we were shaking it. She wasn't shaking it in the most effective way, according to me. So I got upset with her. We had a little bit of a spat. It was not deserved. It was not good. I did apologize later because I take responsibility for everything I do in episodes. The next thing was that I was at work and there was a guy who decided to use an instrument across the way from me, and he had a really strong cologne. The cologne was not bad, but it made me upset. And it made me feel irritable, and I removed myself from the situation so that I did not speak any bad things to him. I did not get upset with him, so I removed myself from the situation until he left, and then I was able to go back to my bench and finish my experiment. And the third time was later that day. I got irrationally angry at a pair of gloves that would not get on my hand because my hand was wet. And so the glove wouldn't go on my hand. I got upset with it, so I took both gloves and I threw them full force into a sink. Just like, really threw them down into the sink. And I will tell you right now, my irritability when it comes to my bipolar side, it comes across mostly with me versus inanimate objects rather than me versus people. And yes, that's a thing. And I guess I'll wrap up this video by saying, believe it or not, this sounds so weird to say, but me being in psychotic depression does mean I'm improving, because it means that I'm further along in my cycle, because I start with the hypomania, I go down into depression, then I sometimes get a mixed state, and that's how it is for me. And while this episode has a little bit different, hit the mixed state earlier probably, I am in the depressive side, which means I'm kind of on the tail end of it. So hopefully this ends soon, and I guess I'll bring up Luna. In front of Luna's head is a video that you should check out if you want more videos from me. And she also says that other than that, thanks for joining both of us in making the uncomfortable comfortable. Subscribe if you haven't already, and me, Luna, and Madam B, of course, will see you in the next one.